We are live. Good afternoon. And I've got a lovely song for Caroline here. Don't you know we're talking about a revolution? Sound like a whisper. We're standing the welfare line, crowning the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around wait for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution. Poor people gonna raise up, get their share. Don't you know they're gonna run, 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 run. Don't you better run, 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 run. I could play that all day, but the show's about Caroline today, not about the song. So good afternoon, Caroline. Why did you choose that song?
Well, it's so good, isn't it? Massive Tracy Chapman fan. I grew up in the 80s. And this song just seems to really resonate now, in particular with what we're doing with our business and the life journey that I have been on. My dad was a massive music fan. He loved this album, so it makes me think of him as well.
Oh, that's lovely. And that's why I like starting off the show with a song, because it just opens things up. We were chatting just before. 1988. It was the year that I got married, Caroline.
Was it?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was
3. I was only 6.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making me feel really old today. That's very kind of you.
Oh, do you know, it's a timeless album, though.
It is. I'm going to dig that out later. Or I'll get my device. I'll get my device to actually play it. And so talk about devices then, because that's why you're here, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am based up in Aberdeenshire. I run a smart home technology company with my amazing husband, Thomas, who was just in the background. And we specialize in helping people to adopt new technology. So we work with a lot of people who are older, their families. Our biggest customer is actually a housing association. So yeah, we are very techy.
Yeah, that is amazing. And so I just prior to starting, I just turned all my lights on, and your device started going crazy as well, didn't it? Absolutely brilliant. So so how did you get into that?
Yeah, quite an unusual story in that both Thomas and I used to work full-time in the oil and gas industry. So he's an electronic and electrical engineer. I'm a chemical engineer. And the industry has been a tricky place for quite some time. In 2015, the oil price crashed really horrendously. So that started off all these rounds of redundancies. And so it got to 2016. Thomas survived 2 rounds of redundancies, but it got to number 3. And he was like, I'm out. I can't reapply for my job. The stress was just too much. And his mental health was really suffering as well. I could see the spark had gone out. I think he was done. And he took some time off and started tinkering in the house. And he loves gadgets. And he was making, he made a video doorbell, out of an old camera, and he made all this stuff
before Ring even thought about it.
Yeah, but it just made us think, well, if he can do this on a tiny budget and invent these things that are really supportive and user-centered, maybe we could do that for other people. And so that's what we decided to do, was to basically we take off the shelf consumer electronics and we customize them to make them work better for people, or we help people to understand how they can actually integrate things better together. So if they've got a heating system and a lighting system, how do they get that all nicely on their phone in one place so that they can properly get the best out of their smart home?
Oh, fantastic. We're going to dig into that in a little while. I just want to know a little bit more about your use of LinkedIn, because that's how we met. So do you use other social media regularly, Caroline?
Yeah, I try to, but I don't really like them. I feel like LinkedIn is like my home. I feel like there's connections I've made on here that are so special, particularly in lockdown. Like some of the people that we met, you know, as we were starting off our journey into creating our Alexa content and, you know, creating software for Alexa. Like, we met so many generous people who supported us with our crowdfunding campaign, and, you know, they're still with us on this journey. And there's people that I count as my friends
Yes.
that I've never even met in real life. I just love LinkedIn.
Yeah, and that is exactly the same for me. So yeah, I totally agree. And so, what do you like about LinkedIn?
What I like about it?
Yeah,
I think it's got an amazing way of connecting people, and I think it's great that you can talk to experts in different fields, and you can share what's happening in your business. You know, even, you know, not just good things like, hey, look at me and how amazing I am, but, you know, be like open and vulnerable, and people, they are so supportive, genuinely. And I feel that is the best thing. Like, you don't have to put on like this kind of shiny, like, everything's amazing all the time. You know, you can
not
just
like
be
you
yourself.
do on Instagram, eh?
Yeah.
So look at me.
Yeah, I'm rubbish at Instagram, honestly.
Don't worry. We all are. Don't worry. LinkedIn's the place. LinkedIn's a place, isn't it? So how much time do you spend on LinkedIn then? Do you reckon, on an average day?
That's
week,
a tricky
month?
question. I think it varies depending on how busy I am. I do like to go on it and you know, see what other people are up to, and comment on their things and cheer them on if they're needing some moral support. So I like to go on it in the morning, not first thing in the morning, because I know that that's a bad habit to get into. So generally, like, I'll get breakfast and stuff and then check emails and then probably pop onto LinkedIn and see some stuff. I do have a bad habit of sometimes looking at it in the evenings as well. Again, you know, to see what people are up to and cheer folk on.
Well, you need something to do in the adverts, don't you? So do you post much of your own content, Caroline?
Yeah, so I do like to post. Again, it's probably not as regular as I would like to. We have been so busy this year in particular. I like to post little videos. So usually it's me going, hi, it's Caroline, how's everyone doing? And then I'm like, oh, this is like our last 4 weeks in a like 2-minute soundbite. Because I think it's nice for people to see you, like I say, like, not like the, you know, the kind of perfect Canva images. And it also allows me to feel like I'm not overthinking things. I'm really bad for overthinking things. So I'll literally do the video and just post it, because I'm like, don't overthink it. You're telling people, you know, interesting things that they'll enjoy.
So are you saying you just do a little video and then post it straight away? You don't do any post-production? You don't do 17 takes? You don't make sure the lighting and your makeup and your hair is all perfect?
No, because if I did that, I'd never post it.
Absolutely. And that's what we've got to do.
It's so hard, though. It's so hard.
No, it's not. People want to see the real you. You know, no one, I promise you this, no one is watching your videos and going, where's Steven Spielberg? It's not a very good camera, is it? I bet she's only used her phone. Oh, the lighting there's rubbish. No one ever says that. Do you know what they're saying? They're saying, oh, I wish I could do videos. Oh, she's so brave for doing that. I wish I could do it. And well done, you're doing it. And this is the thing. I did a little on the first Monday of every month, but next Monday we've got too many bank holidays, so it's going to be a Tuesday. I do a little surgery, and people come in and they ask questions. And so afternoon, Pavel, he was there yesterday. And so yesterday we were doing video and talking about, you know, why you should do video, etc. And the thing is, when you do video on social media, well, primarily on LinkedIn, you don't get as many views, impressions, and interaction than you do with normal posts. And so people go, oh, it's not worth doing it because I'm not getting the reach. It's not about the reach. It's exactly what you said. It's about people actually start to see the real Caroline. They start to understand the real Caroline. You know, the quirks, that the things you do endears them to you, or you to them. I don't know what the language there is, but you know, then they go, oh my goodness, I love that Caroline. I'm going to watch all of her videos, and that happens. And what happens in real life when people meet you? Oh, hi Caroline, I saw your videos, and they feel more connected to you. So
Yeah,
well
and
done
that's
you for doing
happened, and
that.
it's so nice.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And you know, normally when you go to a networking event, it's like, oh, no one's going to come and talk to me. People make a beeline for you. Hi, Caroline, good to see you. Pavel is confirming that actually happened. So yeah, it was a good session yesterday, Pavel. So I want to see you doing more videos, sir. Okay, so do you have a best time for posting your content, Caroline?
Do I have a best time? I do like to try and get it, if I'm going to post something, do it in the morning, because like I say, I overthink things.
Yep.
So that's always good. And I'm generally just more organized and more productive in the mornings.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a strategic thing. I just, it just suits me better.
And look, this is the thing. You know, there's trainers out there saying, oh, you have to do it at 10 o'clock on a Monday, or whatever day it is, you know, that they say is the best. That's rubbish. What you need to do is just be consistent and put out some content, because like you say, you overthink it and nothing gets done. So no, that is superb. All right, big killer question. Do you get business as a result of anything that you're doing on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. So I don't know if I'd say anything directly in terms of people like, oh yeah, we want to buy your stuff, because our business doesn't really work like that. It's one side of it is very service orientated, and then the kind of newer side of it is creating these Alexa experiences. And so I wouldn't say we've had anything direct, but I think it's building those connections and that awareness. And what I do get a lot of, which is so beautiful, is people sending me messages like, oh, did you see that this grant has launched? Or, you know, did you see this person's doing this thing over here? And it looks like it's something that you'd be interested in. And so I get that a lot. And I think that's super, like, it's just amazing to have, like, it's almost like it widens your perception filter because people are looking out for things on your behalf.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got like an army of people keeping an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, and then I do that for other people as well, because I just think it's a lovely thing to be able to do.
No, fantastic. So thank you for answering all my LinkedIn questions. So let's talk a little bit more about TL Tech and KindSpace. So what's KindSpace? Is that a different business?
KindSpace is our Alexa app. So that's the very first app that we launched in the Amazon store. It's a well-being related application. We created it during lockdown as a way to help our customers when we couldn't go to their houses. So we were thinking about, you know, how they were feeling in terms of stress and anxiety and loneliness and the sorts of issues we were all facing. And what KindSpace does is it helps you to check in every day with how you're doing. It's got a large database with lots of tips and advice and signposting. And last year, we also launched some interactive activities, so audio that you listen to, like journaling, breathing exercises, and you can work along with that to then help to reduce feelings of worry and stress and anxiety.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because we definitely needed that going through lockdown, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so your Alexa app things then, so you actually design the whole gambit. So rather than just someone buying a lamp and plugging it into Hue, you come up with all kinds of elaborate plans. So what are the most elaborate things you've got up to then?
Oh, in terms of different use cases, do you know what? For me, it's always the simple things that are most surprising. And when we work with customers, we take a really user-centered approach, and it's asking them, you know, what's the thing that you would love to be able to do that you're maybe struggling with, and speaking to the family as well about the sorts of things that would help to enhance how they feel about their life and how much autonomy they have. And, you know, it is honestly the simple things like being able to open the curtains, making a cup of tea, you know, switching off the lights without having to need to get someone into the room to do that for you, playing your Spotify music without having to get a CD player and put CDs in. You know, all of those things are so empowering, and it's honestly the most wonderful thing to be a part of that and to feel like you've made that difference.
So when you say older people, you don't mean old people like me that have been married for 35 years. You mean older that probably struggle getting out of a chair and doing things.
Yeah, so anyone who's maybe reached a point in their life where things are becoming a bit more challenging for them, with their, whether that's mobility, whether that's dexterity in their hands, vision, sight, these sorts of things, the smart home technology can really help to give people a new lease of life, and for them to feel like they have more control and more dignity as well.
And I guess you come up with routines, so you just turn around and say it. Or I guess you can set the routine so it turns the lights on and shuts the curtains all at a certain time of day based on the light. Is that right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so you can set
and your
up your own
geolocation as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So we do that as well with the geolocation. So it's really handy for things like in the wintertime when it gets darker in the evening, your house knows when you're on your way home because it knows from your phone location, and then it will turn the lights on before you come in. So that's a really good use case, and it's good for security and good for safety. Yeah.
Brilliant. Have you got any funny stories that you can share with us?
Funny stories?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Gosh, there's lots of funny Alexa things. Some of the mishearings and mispronunciations. Yeah, sometimes that can be quite comical. So for our kind space skill, one of the commands is, or one of the options is the daily check-in, but she thinks you say daily chicken.
All
and
right.
so you're like, I don't want a daily check-in. I want a daily check-in. But as a developer, you can actually correct for a lot of those things. But they're funny when you first discover them. The things that it mishears.
Yeah, absolutely. I turn around to my device and I said, "Oh, play such and such a song," and it goes, "Nah, I don't know that one." And I go, "Well, play this song then," and it doesn't know. And I'm like, "Hang on a minute," and so then I then ask the device what song was the latest one by the artist, and they'll turn around and go, "It's this song." So we'll play that then, because that's what I asked for. And sometimes it is so frustrating.
Yeah.
And do you find your customers say please?
Yes. Oh, and it's so endearing. That's so lovely. We advise people not to do that though, because that's the sort of thing that can end up in miscommunication. But yeah, there's a lot. Even I do it. And you can't help it. Yeah.
Well, no,
it's like
there's nothing
you give it
wrong
a persona,
with
even though it's not a real thing.
nothing wrong with manners. My wife is always doing it. It makes me giggle. And the other thing is, you've got to say the command, pause, and then let it, and then sorry, say the wake up name, then pause, and then do it.
There's a few little things like that you have to remember. We have a little cheat sheet thing that we give to people. It's just a card thing, and you fold it up, and then they can sit it next to their smart speaker, and then it gives them some little tips as to how to get started, because we know it's difficult. It seems simple, but if you don't know, you don't know.
No, absolutely. And have they come out with a smart speaker that goes under your TV? What do you call that? Soundbar. Is that available yet? Because they've been talking about it for ages.
Yeah, so there are different smart speaker or different manufacturers that have Alexa built into them. So I know the Sonos systems had the Alexa built in. I can't think of any other brands that have the Alexa built in. There's TVs now that you can get even with Alexa voice activation, like built into the actual device. It's becoming more and more common, like cars and everything.
I was just going to say, I think I've seen a couple of cars. Yeah. Alexa, take me to the cinema. Car will drive it off. It's crazy where it's all going. And how much of this is AI?
So with the way the Alexa stuff works, it's all natural language processing and understanding. So that is AI. So when we design something to work on the Alexa system, we're using their AI technology to be able to understand what our customers are saying.
Yeah, and does it have regional variations?
See, this is the tricky thing. So, because a lot of what we do is obviously based in Scotland, we've actually been developing another app for an organisation called the Health and Social Care Alliance. And this new app is a way of connecting people with activities in their communities. So it's got great alignment with us, in terms of our business, supporting loneliness and that side of things. But what we found a lot in particular with that app is how difficult it is, because there's so many different regional accents across Scotland, and some of the user testing that we've done, people talk about how they have to put their posh voices on.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is quite difficult. I think for such a small nation, we have such a diverse range of dialects. It is obviously quite challenging for someone like Amazon to create a solution that's able to understand what we say.
Yeah, no, I love accents and copying them, I suppose, impersonating them. I do love accents, but yeah, you've got this typical Scottish in your head, but like you say, it varies, doesn't it? Aberdeen to Glasgow, and they're all totally different, aren't they? And amazing. So with your doing all your stuff, what challenges do you face? What challenges do your clients face that you sort of like have to overcome? What are those sorts of things that happen?
So I guess as a business, we have kind of your normal challenges, but then I think we also have this additional challenge of doing something in a field which is very new, and like for a consumer can be very overwhelming and quite confusing for them to navigate. And so a lot of what we do is educational. A lot of it is, trying to help people to understand the benefits and the different use cases, and how they might see themselves, adopting some of these technologies in their lives. So it makes it even more challenging, I think, to operate as a business and to like make a profit and all these things. And especially because, you think, or a lot of our competitors in this space, they maybe have a more like standardized approach where they say like, you can have this package for this and you can have this package for this. But I think what we found when we were working with our customers is that didn't work, because they weren't really getting what they needed, or they were getting stuff that they didn't need and paying for stuff potentially that they didn't need, and that didn't sit well with us. So yeah, we have a lot of challenges, I guess, when it comes to finding customers at the right time. So a lot of people come to us and they'll tell us about what's happening in their life with their loved ones, and then when we have that conversation, we're like, we think we're actually too late. Even with something like Alexa and the smart home, there's a bit of an adjustment sometimes. And although it's low digital literacy, in terms of using a voice interface versus going on a computer, there's still some learning needed there. And if it is someone who has dementia, unfortunately, they can have already got to the point where it's not appropriate. And so having those sorts of conversations is always very difficult, when you really want to help a family and actually, you can say to them, we're not the right solution for you. Or there's a limit to how much we can do because of the needs that you have.
And there's also the Echo Show, isn't there? So do you use that for video communications so that we can keep an eye on mum and what have you?
That's how we kind of got started in this whole journey creating software. So when the pandemic hit, we obviously couldn't go to our customers' houses. And because I'll never sit back and just be like, oh, let's just watch Netflix or whatever, I said to Thomas, what if we went online on Facebook every week and we taught people how to set up their Alexas to do video calls so they can keep in touch with loved ones? And it was basically like taking what we would normally do in someone's house and turning it into like a remote training program. And so that's what we did. And Thomas, he was like, I'm not doing this. This is like the worst idea ever. But it really helped people. And so every week we covered like a different aspect of what Alexa does. And then had this kind of penny drop sort of thing where we were like, oh, you get apps for voice assistants, and anyone can build an app. You know, as a third-party developer, that platform, you know, is available for anyone who would be interested. And so that's how we ended up starting creating our own software, as we just discovered more and more about what the devices can do.
Fantastic. And that's the thing, isn't it? Just having a go. And did you record all of these and they up on a YouTube channel somewhere?
Yeah, we've got a really awful YouTube channel if anyone wants to check it out.
Oh, fantastic. You have to put the links in the in the show notes for us as well. So we'll make sure that that's all done. Right, that's 15 minutes gone, and we're out of time. I've got one more question for you. But before I do that, I'm just going to find next week's guest, because we've got Matt coming in to have a chat. Matt for a chat. Where is he? He's there. And he's coming in to talk about financial planning. So we're going to find out a little bit about that next week. So yeah, thanks ever so much for being an amazing guest. My last question to you. First of all, how can people get hold of you? Do they just say, Alexa, give Caroline a shout? Is that how it works?
I do live on LinkedIn, so if anyone
Awesome.
wants to look me up, it's just Caroline Laurenson on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
I will definitely respond on there. Yeah, that's probably the best place to find me.
Fantastic. And so what tip would you give your 16-year-old self, Caroline?
Do you know, when you said about this question before we obviously met, and I did have to think about it a lot, because I've had quite a crazy life. So it's quite a deep question. I guess, I don't know if it would be a tip. I think I would just say to her, you can do anything you put your mind to, and just trust in yourself and that everything will be okay.
Love that.
So I don't think it's necessarily a tip. I think it's just like saying something caring and encouraging.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. So it wouldn't be to drink more water with it then. Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much, Caroline. Thanks for coming along today and having a little chat. Thanks to Pavel for your comments. We will see you all next week. Thank you very much indeed. Cheerio.
Thanks, Ashley.
Bye-bye. You get out what you put in.